All right, welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. Today, my guest, Mr. Andrew King, all the way from Wanaka. Welcome, Andrew.
Well, great to be here. Via Wales, of course, which most of you will pick up on the accent shortly.
Yeah, we'll dig into that in a minute for sure. So thanks for your time. It's great to be able to connect with another Southlander. I feel like I've chatted to a whole pile of people that Tash put me in touch with, and I see she's got you on the ambassador crew as well. So you're in the same, I guess, group of people that are helping look after the rest of the people in your region.
Yeah, that's it. Just trying to meet some new faces and build a bit more of a network in the area so we can all help each other out.
Yeah.
It's been good people doing good things, which is always motivating for me to be around those types of people that want to serve and help other people. So
fantastic.
winning.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about, isn't it? It's about working together and collaborating and growing everybody's share of the pie at the same time.
It's sort of one of the drivers behind our name at the gym down here, the Fit Collective, is one of our mottos is collectively strong. Because we work together as a group, man, one person goes up, everybody else goes up. So it's something we really love here.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to say, you've created that sense of community straight away by that name, I guess, both from a team point of view, but from a customer's point of view as well.
Yeah, we it's something we really enjoy about the sort of various realms of fitness, health, racing, whatever camp you want to put in or sit in. Yeah. Something we really love, just hanging out with like-minded people. And our space is a big open space.
Right.
We don't have any barriers or anything in there, and personal trainers will be there with their clients, and there'll be groups going on. And at the start, I suppose it really worried me. Thought maybe it'll be a bit weird, but everyone just loves talking to each other and having some fun and banter on the gym floor. And it is just a really nice community vibe here where everybody's welcome, and we just like hanging out and having some fun.
Yeah. Fantastic. I saw a couple of videos on your Facebook page, I think it was, and it's looks like a fun place to be, and everyone knows each other, so it's like family almost.
Yeah, very much so.
You've just come back from Raro, is that right?
Yeah, we managed to sneak a wee trip in a few weeks ago, which was an awesome trip for a whole bunch of reasons. But recently I started working in, how would you describe it, more integrated coaching, so more that holistic mental model. It's so I'm just about finishing off the Unbeatable Mind coaching circuit out on the beach at 27 degrees, which was quite lovely.
Beautiful. I just lost you there for a minute. I'm going to need to edit that out because your word ended up being extremely long. So you're over in Raro, and that was obviously like a group trip, and was that part of the coaching or the education that you're doing? Did you need to do that trip?
I'd love to say yes. No, so what we worked on was the foundations of the program, which is setting up where you'll start from and where you want to go. Yeah. So generally we do a practical session on the beach, which was quite fun, swimming in and around the sea with snorkels and kayaks and bear crawling up and down the beach. We actually ran one with coconuts for a while, which put us some odd looks. And then we do a little bit of practical afterwards to sort of build those. So like the 3-piece, for example, our principles. Give me a second. Was it principles, purposes, and passion?
Yeah.
Which was quite fun because I think a lot of people have done that work in isolation, and then when we joined them together to give us a bit of direction, they all sort of came away and it was like, oh wow, so really good fun stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough gig, isn't it, having to work on a beautiful beach,
27 degrees, snorkeling with turtles.
yeah. Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
well, that's exciting.
It is very exciting. And what was really cool was we have a massive, I'd say almost addiction to obstacle course racing. So Tough Mudder, Spartan Race, we've got our own about the Alpha Challenge, which is something I'm the race director of. And a couple of years ago, we did a trip to the Gold Coast to do our first one. I think it was 2018. And we just sort of said, hey, who wants to have a go?
Yeah.
And then tongue in cheek, we went, who wants to go to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Next year, 28 people later, we run a trip there and everybody racing different distances. But it's we love it because we can combine the mental stuff, and obstacle course racing is quite literally you're going to run into an obstacle on the course.
Yeah.
And some you might be able to do, some you might not, but they're tough to everybody in different ways.
Yeah.
And we just loved having everything from people that qualified to the World Championships through the people that would get on the start line and go, I'm just about to get into tears. I'm so nervous, but they all finished and said that was, a life-changing event. So cool, because we can underpin the training while we're here. So the things, stress control, get your mind in the right place, physical skills, capabilities, and then we get on course and can do this together. And everybody's got this shared group challenge goal experience by the end of it. There's something I'll never forget, and can bring on the next one.
Too right. So how did you get into the Spartan coaching space, in terms of, obviously anyone who wants to go and do the Spartan could come to you and get some help? Is that?
Definitely. It's obviously the last few years have been quite dynamic on that side of things, and having the lovely venue we've got, we'd love to run training camps. So we go out to the local campgrounds and set up a mini course in nature. By the lake here, it's just beautiful. And same sort of thing, have a run around with your friends, learn to climb ropes, carry things, do some hard work, challenge yourself mentally, physically. And we absolutely love it, because a lot of us have done sort of traditional things, triathlon, road running, it's a lot of those sports. And we kind of, went to that and just went, wow, this is so much fun, because I can test so we had a bunch of people that raced the super distance, which was 10 kilometers. And at the end of the weekend, we did the sprint, which is 5 kilometers. And to give you an indication, it took us 3 hours to do 5K.
Jeez.
But we just walked around having fun. Awesome. Help each other out. There's no real pressure there. This is earlier in the morning. You might have hit the red line, and gone as hard as you can. And I'm like, hey, what's your jam? Go for it. But equally, we have as much fun doing both, and it's something we absolutely love here. And that's what led on to our event in this end, the Alpha Challenge. So the handbrake came on all the travel, obviously. We went, well, and it's a relatively new sport in New Zealand. We thought, I know how we can fix this. And we, tongue-in-cheek, asked a friend of ours that's got a wonderful venue, and he was like, oh, no one else is doing that. Let's give it a nudge. And 300 people later in a farm full of obstacles and mud and hills and great stuff, everyone sort of finished and was like, wow, the clip's up on Facebook and social. If you get onto our Alpha Challenge handle, or on the Facebook, you'll find the recaps. But so much fun. So much fun.
So that's your event. The Alpha Challenge is something you've put together, and which is an annual event now?
We're early December 4th this year, so we generally try to go early December. And again, very much that, like to say, for us, the most important thing is that you can go there and have the experience you want to. We've got people that just walk around it, and they have as much fun as the guys that are out there that train hard for obstacle course racing or want to give themselves a test and just have an absolute blast. I mean, we've got a wonderful venue. We always kind of have, I've got a few friends that are builders, and we just sort of dream up things we could build and give them a go. So,
superb.
Really good fun.
I guess there's a certain amount of safety elements required to run an event like that. You don't just build.
No. That's why I get the builders to build. I'm not allowed on the tools. I just tell them what I'm thinking of, and they build it. So
and they make it safe. That's fantastic. And so December the 4th. And is that open to the public?
Absolutely, yeah. We've tickets, website's up now, alphachallenge.co.nz, and check it out. Let us know if you've got any questions. And we always say the same. Spartan's tagline is you'll know at the finish line. And when you finish one, you're like, now I'm covered in mud. I'm slightly beaten up. I got cramp, but man, it was so much fun. And when's the next one?
I had a similar journey with Tough Guy, Tough Girl, and ended up with Tough Mudder. It's one of those journeys over a few years, which is just amazing fun when you discover it. Like being a clean freak. It was like, tiptoe, and then it's like, well, it's up to my neck. It's up to my neck now, so who cares? It's so liberating. And then you go to do something like a Tough Mudder, where the like you talked about, the obstacle course, some of them are so hard you can't do them yourself. You need those people around you, and then suddenly that teamwork just kicks in, and it's so empowering working together to get through this stuff.
So we've got and that's the camaraderie on course is wonderful, because everybody's in the same boat. it sort of doesn't matter if you're fit, fast, strong. It's your first one, it's your 10th one. You're 99% of the people out there are out there for the same reason, which is something we love.
Yeah,
it's good you mentioned Tough Mudder. I got stuck in a pipe at Tough Mudder. That's always the one that gets brought up when we go training. Like I tell you, the pipe is exactly this big. So when I found it, my leg got stuck and I couldn't get down the pipe.
Oh no.
And my buddy here, one of the coaches, he was behind me and he's like, go down the pipe. I'm like, I can't, I'm stuck. He's like, what do you mean? So my knee won't move. But one of those funny things, and it was right before the ice. You go down the tube and the ice. But that was, we have a laugh about it, and it's just given us a great memory that we'll never forget and gets brought up at every opportunity.
They are certainly the memories when they come up on Facebook or whatever of that event. It's like, oh, that's right, that day I opened my knee up, and
it was just one of those. I didn't even cut it or anything. It just sat in the pipe perfectly. Right. And eventually, it wiggled me backwards. But it was a blast. The locals were going past going, oh no, he's stuck in a pipe, hey.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So you guys do a fair bit of work in the athlete development space, or sort of the youth athlete development space. I see you had Dr. Craig down there recently passing on some of his research and knowledge. That's you must have. Is that targeted at all sports or the winter sports?
Definitely. So it's quite a cool story. When Kim, my partner, was up in Auckland,
right?
Her boys were working with him at Millennium.
Yes.
And then they moved down here for a lifestyle change, which was over 7 years ago. It was supposed to be 6 months or something like that. Fell in love with the area.
Yeah.
And one of our coaches is going on to do a master's as well, Sally Soper, and was planning to work underneath him. And sort of the stars combined, and he came down and ran us through the principles of what the program is about. Much like the movement training, we say we train movement, not muscles.
Yes.
Look at arming kids with a big movement library that's not always about 3 sets of 10, a lot of experiential things. And it works for everybody, though. That's the great thing.
Yeah.
And sort of ability to relate what the kids are working on to what the kids want to work on.
Right.
So, do you think that looks like rugby? And they're like, oh, yeah, maybe. Or skateboarding or snowboarding or, sometimes, you first hear it, I got to get out my own way in the way I was trained initially.
Yeah.
It's not 3 sets of 10 push-ups. It's like, there's a box and a med ball, crawl over it, take the med ball with you. And the kids do some amazing stuff. Like, with a young lad who's a very good skier, and he did a pistol squat on top of a kettlebell when it was stood up. So the was up like that. And I was like, you think you could squat on that? He's like, yeah, I think so. Bang, just nailed it. One-legged squat. Really? I was like, jeez. Yeah, that's cool. And wonderful. One of the goals, and we use it a lot, is to help kids to build a lifelong love of movement. And incidentally, we end up with a lot of kids that might not necessarily be first 15s or netball teams or those sorts of things. They just want to come in to move and find that community and do things they can relate to. Yeah, which is it's brilliant. We had him a couple of weeks ago and said, everyone else will be doing what he's doing in 5 years' time. Yeah. Which is very, very fun to be part of. And we have great conversations. We're really lucky to have him here as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So you're on the front of the curve with that.
Hopefully, no, we're trying to be. And when you look around and people that aren't exposed to it are like, rather than a squat, they bounce in the box and then touch the floor and stood back up again. And we're like, we've been doing that since when did we meet him? 3 or 4 years ago, I think. But really enjoyable. Amazing to see the kids go through it as well. They do so much good work, and we've got a wonderful coaching team that just adopt the sort of the methodology and the ways of doing things, and we sit down as a team to brainstorm movement ideas, not just what we see in other areas. So it's a lot of fun. The kids do great work.
Brilliant. It's pretty powerful stuff.
A wonderful example I'll show you from last term. We were doing some work with a police program that's run in the area. We're up training the kids before school.
Right.
And we did a drill where they had to guide. So like I'd have my eyes shut and you'd have to guide me across the hall.
Okay.
And one of the girls were there helping, and we got, those big dusters that they use in big holes that kind of snap like an alligator.
Yep.
And we started chasing them around. You're trying to tell me where to go without getting eaten by this giant floor duster alligator. But so much fun, and the kids just loved it. So it looks a little bit wacky, but it's always underpinned by a principle, strategy, or something.
And I guess that just adds that fun element into it, doesn't it? Because it is wacky, but as you say, it's always underpinned. So it may look silly from the outside, but actually there's some good reasoning behind it. And it's not just plucked out of thin air. You know, you as you said, you brainstorm it, you put your heads together, and you come up with some really clever solutions that support the sport.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We kind of raced into the middle of the podcast, and
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
That's fantastic. But typically I'll sort of go, okay, so what got you into it? You know, so what was your journey in, Andrew? How did you get to where you are now, and where did it all start?
So obviously Wales, rugby massive in Wales, was definitely a rugby player.
Fair enough. Yep.
And but this has sort of led on to where I've sort of moved more into the coaching realm as opposed to the trainer realm, you know, and they both the same but different. I was always a guy that was reading fitness magazines and trying to look up new workout style. And I'd basically go to the gym and talk to my friends about that, even from sort of 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
I went through school, decided that wasn't for me, so went ski instructing.
Okay.
Well, it was supposed to be a gap year that turned into 7. And then in between seasons thought, if I combine my skiing knowledge, because I tried to work my way up some qualifications at that point, with my physical knowledge, I was like, I've got quite a nice sort of space to operate in there, sort of more winter specific.
Yeah.
And one year, 2009, I came down to New Zealand for the first time, pulled up a Coronet Peak, then ended up in Wanaka and looked around and was like, wow, I really can't think of anything I don't want to, like I can't do in this area.
Yeah.
Other than the really extreme stuff, and sort of decided I want to make this home and lined up the paperwork and qualified. I finished my course in a summer, did a 2-year course in 6 weeks.
Yep.
Sort of practiced on and off as a bit of a side hustle, which I think a lot of people do to start.
Yep.
And just fell in love with the place. And yeah, that was almost 15 years ago now.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Which is fun. And sort of I've always enjoyed learning new things in sports. So I sort of obviously had to go, when you're in Wanaka and you see Challenge Wanaka, you're like, oh, that's going to be a challenge. I'm going to put my mettle and my mind to the test, and took part in that. And just loved moving around, learning different things, and sort of been a qualification junkie ever since, really. Did Spartan, love that. Did a fully certified Spartan coach as well, with the plan of using that to run training camps and spread the good word of obstacle course events. And like I said, not that you try to use event as much as possible, because if you want it to be a race, it's a race. If you want to go and take part with your mates, I would say absolutely get out there and do it. And just love it. That was me. Just kept learning. Lucky enough to be mentored by a very, very skilled mentor when I first finished, which was my sort of original qualifications. He had huge experience, trained over 5 world champions from rugby through to Aaaaan. And is now working with some very, very high-end CrossFitters, and was, you get exposure to people that we, a few faces we know, and you just meet these guys and you're like, all right, there's more going on here than push-ups.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so you've sort of moved and shifted, like you were talking about with the 3 elements in Raro, to the unbeatable mind coach, and so that sort of sounds like an area you're pursuing quite heavily as well. What took you down that path?
I first read the books, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, and that sort of got me onto the thing of, there's more going on than, we use the push-up example. It's like being healthy and unbeatable isn't being able to do 1 million push-ups. You've got to have your whys and your principles and those things lined up in order to make a really fulfilling experience where you can actually achieve what you want to achieve. And the things I love, we talk about the 5 mountains in the program that isn't, it's not just physical. They've got a mental mountain, which is, being able to focus, those sorts of things, emotional control, intuition, which is sort of following your gut and being present. And then the Kokoro mountain is sort of your spiritual mountain.
Okay.
Where you move on to, it's not all about yourself. A lot of the Kokoro work is around service to others and helping people. That's why we absolutely love, we've raised a lot of money. We've always make an effort to fundraise for our mental health team in the area, which we find so rewarding. It was a real tearjerker. The lady that runs it here told us some of the stuff it was spent on. And it was like that fun because it goes straight to people to get into therapists and taxis and all sorts of things like that. So incredibly rewarding work that we really, really enjoy and have done ever since we started.
That's brilliant. I saw those I saw that tagline on the tickets there, which was going to such a good cause. I thought, wow, you guys are doing it for other people. You're not doing this for yourselves. I mean, obviously, there's some payback on that spiritual level of being of service and giving back. And actually, when you rattled those off, it kind of reminded me of Te Whare Tapawha, you know, the four walls. And I mean, obviously, you've got a fifth element, but very similar in terms of that holistic approach. You know, when you get all of the walls constructed, you have a sound structure that's not going to topple because something's missing, as opposed to if it was only about being able to do the push-ups, then, you know, when it's raining outside or the day is getting a bit tough, you're going to give in.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's very, very similar to that model. You know, get the foundation set nice and strong. Sort of, you could call it health, you could call it resilience, you could call it being unbeatable, but the ability to live, you know, one of the sayings we use in the program is one day, one lifetime. Right. Embrace every day as a chance to get out there and be of service and be the best version of yourself. Across as many of those domains as we can do, or we're focusing on. And physical is wonderful. It's a very easier for people to understand, but we can make a physical thing a very emotional thing as well, which is really true. I think the big one that sold it for me was they used the example where, you know, I have a friend and he starts the gym and he's nailing his diet, and then he comes under a bit of work stress. So his focus drops in the mental mountain potentially, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks has gone by and he's been doing nothing but smashing burgers and like a beer, for example. And you're like, whoa, you were so hyper diligent in that area until these two got rocked. Like, you know, much like the legs on the house. You know, one of them goes down, the whole thing's going to start to lean, and you're going,
So more work required on those other areas, so that everything can be a bit more balanced.
I think it just, for me, it adds such another layer to training. You know, I was sports. I'm a physical guy. I played a physical sport, like lifting weights. You know, Friday night you could always go down and find me on the bench press. But you know, now looking back to it, I'm like, well, there's way more going on. Just filling sleeves and being a good shirt holder.
Yeah, totally. So when you say that the program, so is it something that is sort of running all the time with existing members, or do you sort of workshop it for them at certain points so that it builds on the physical stuff that they're doing all the time? How do you deliver it?
I was having exactly this conversation with Kim just before we left. So
okay,
we do want to get a couple of different products together. So we're just about to get our first coaching group, which will be a longer term program over sort of 12 months. And, you know, something we want to employ there is that you could pay your fee, and then that includes a trip at the end of it. So you might work, you know, let's say we work together in a team of 6, and then it'd include our Spartan Auckland race, for example. It pulls everyone together, and we can pull on different levers and get everyone in a shared experience, although it might be for different reasons. Use it a lot in a workshop sense when we do it with groups. So even on training on Saturday, we were just talking about the big 4 of mental toughness. And what I was loving the grid of grit. If you looked at it and went, if I got my physical mind on, that is very physical, very challenging, what would eventually ended up being 14 minutes. And it was, but we can scale it in different ways. You know, maybe it's a focus exercise. So we spoke about strategy, you know, how are you going to take this on? Because you're not going to do it clean, like you're not going to do it in one go. And everyone tried to get a bit of a strategy together, and they adjusted. And then, you know, can you focus on that? I know I did it just after the group, and for me it was quite emotional because 2 of the exercises absolutely walloped me. You know, you want to break me down, give me one of those 2, and that's it. I'm a puddle on the floor by the end of it. But that was my focus to go, okay, cool. So quite a cool example where we can make a 14-minute drill with a bit more focus and just going, I'm going to get my heart rate up and work real hard. And then we're just looking at doing some more work with kids as well, and running camps over school holidays and things like that, which is, it's so much fun. You know, we got highway campsites right by the lake. It's beautiful. we've just got nature as a playground here.
Fantastic. So you just bung your stuff.
That helps.
Oh, absolutely. You just bung your gear in the truck and open up the back and away you go, sort of thing on the field.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a photo of it must have been some of your Spartan guys. You had the the sandbells. You know, you got the randomness of a sandbell.
Yeah.
And inside the gym, you've got your ViPrs as well. So lots of non-traditional equipment, which is exciting to see because I don't think there's enough of that stuff around out there.
No, and there's so much room to. So I got into triplanar movement through the Gray Institute.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, the godfather of function is another one of his nicknames. But suddenly, you know, when you look at bones moving and then where different muscle fibers run and proprioception and all these wonderful things, and I just sat down and looked at it and was like, hang on, if I want a really good, strong set of shoulders, maybe I need to start doing less than this.
Yes.
You know, the line I use here at the gym is if our shoulders can understand 36,000 different positions between, you know, a hand being that way, closed grip.
Yeah.
You know, and then you do the same thing above the head. I'm like, why do we only train 3 of them?
Yes. Is it
above the head and in front of the chest, and that's it.
Is that what Gary Gray says? 36,000?
It was one I got from Phil, actually, my old mentor.
Okay.
You know, we considered every single
tweaking
and then different hand grips as well. It's a huge amount of motion there as well. Being a skier, it really interested me in a previous life because you look at a picture of somebody making a good turn on skis and you're like, that knee is not over the third toe.
Yes. Exactly.
Wonderful real world examples.
We've got some weird rules that we feel we should follow, don't we? Inside the 4 walls. It's like, how does that relate to anything outside?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my hand up for the physio to shoot me and say there is 100% of time for keeping your knee, you know, over that third toe. No, I'm not going to ever argue that with anybody. And I think one of the most powerful questions I took away from it was, hey, how's that working for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel great doing, you know, the guys here will tell you there's a few exercises I probably wouldn't pick myself, but I'm like, it's the client's, you know, from a personal training standpoint, it's the client's workout, not mine.
Oh, exactly.
I'm just here to help them get better and progress along that track.
Yeah.
And if they love doing, what should we say, for example, you know, glute bridges, for example.
Yeah.
If I run them through my filter of principles, strategies, and techniques, you know, maybe not. Clients done them with the physios and they love them and feel like they're getting better. Just wait, you know, I'm here to help. I'm your guide on this.
It's their belief around it that matters, really, isn't it? So if they think those will help, sure, you can slide some other stuff in there, but if they believe that stuff's important to them, you've got to keep it in there. Otherwise, they'll start disconnecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quite in that example, the guys will be laughing. I'm talking about glute bridges because they quite often come up in conversation here.
All right.
You know, I might get into say the glute bridges and, like I said, just hop up on the ViPr and start to press in different positions on one leg, and all of a sudden they're like, oh wow. And when you do it consistently, you're like, why wasn't I doing this before? I would have been twice the rugby player if somebody would show me how to go sideways. Yeah,
that's the thing. When I did my ViPr course, I saw a couple of videos and I've forgotten the guy who runs it, but there was a video of him with a light ViPr and a heavy ViPr, and he sprinted with the light one, you know, the crossbody sprint.
Yeah.
And then he dumped it, picked up the heavy one, and I can't remember what he did. It might have been a lunge or something, but 2 different things with 2 different ViPrs. And he was like, this is for rugby training. It's like, oh,
yeah.
You know, it's like, this is a different approach, but you know, it made sense when I did it myself. It was like, yeah.
This feels a little, like I'm moving around, you know, it feels a bit like sport.
Yeah.
And equally, we need to dial it back a few steps, you know, and break it into chunks, and just we're going to be stationary, you know, and just get a feel for maybe shifting the ViPr from right to left.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where we need to start.
Yeah, no, it's good gear, and I just hope that, you know, that aspect, like you said, 5 years potentially, you know, everybody will be in that space, and I hope so, because there's so much more value to be had from a client's point of view, and you know, that's the real life stuff. So I mean, there's always a place for that linear stuff.
I'll have bench press for the rest of my life. That'll never change. But you know, I might hit the bench and do a bit of sideways crawling, or try and, you know, we have the kids crawling across med balls, and we've got some bounce beams that we're getting to crawl on in a real narrow stance, and man, it's tricky.
Yeah, that's
great fun.
Yeah, exactly. I see you. I mean, obviously, I've got a sense of it already, but you've got a cheeky sense of humor. You like telling jokes, and you like throwing them out, to your community and seeing what the reaction is.
You didn't watch the ones from lockdown, did you? Because they have earned me so much.
You had me laughing with the coffin one.
That was one of my favorites because no one, everybody, the amount of messaging I got after that, they were like, oh, that's something that's really important to me as well. Not to be, I like being laid back. It's who I am. And don't get me wrong, when you need to put your foot in the gas pedal and go for it, but, I don't take myself too seriously, as you probably gathered by a guy that spent lockdown finding the worst dad jokes he could get hold of.
It's brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant. Like I said, and the guys are generally having a good laugh with it. The last one that's been getting people. I apologize. This isn't going to offend anybody, okay? But what do you call a woman with no arms?
A woman with no arms. Nothing's coming to me.
Lorraine. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not Lorraine. The worst, like I say, the worst I can make them is just for the reaction from other people. And they're like, oh, what have you got?
Hang on a minute. It's not. All right.
That doesn't work. Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, now it does. I think the good thing is, like, with those lockdowns, I've seen so many people commentating on. I was watching Match Fit the other day, and they were talking about one of the guys. I think it was Corey Flynn. Lockdown 1, I was okay. Lockdown 2, I was starting to struggle, and they're making sure they have these mental health discussions, which is really really good.
Yeah.
But being able to introduce humor, being able to be silly, and give everyone an opportunity to laugh at your dad jokes and just kick back a little bit. If they're not going to do it, or if people aren't doing it, and you're prepared to do it, and being completely authentic, but also vulnerable with some terrible humor. That's got to be another dimension that's so important that helps people get through that stuff, doesn't it? It really does.
Definitely. I mean, if anything, it helped me is probably more than it might have helped the other. I'd like to think it helped everybody else. Yeah. Tipping over in the kayak with the capsize one. It's like I was actually training kayaking at that point and needed to practice my rolls. 2 for 1 and I'll have a laugh.
I missed that bit. I'll have to scroll back further.
Yeah, there's some real, there's some wonder. Well, I don't know. You can take what you want from them. Hopefully they give people a laugh.
Exactly, and that's what it's about, isn't it? And if you get some good engagement because of that as well, and even if they're poking, ribbing you and saying how rubbish they are, at the end of the day, it's that connection thing,
Yeah. You can have a laugh together. Yeah, you can do most things. And I use humor a lot as well. And on the flip side, if I am trying to do like ride my bike hard or try to run a bit harder with a group, so we're going to do the Gold Coast Trifecta weekend in October. So that's a 21, a 10, and a 5 in the same weekend.
Right. Jeez.
A bumpy, muddy. I use humor to help myself out a lot there.
Yeah, I bet.
Kim will probably, when we were training for Challenge, I'd be running along, and one of the mantras at the time was "looking good, feeling good, ought to be in Hollywood." And I just start singing down my head, and we go, "Looking good, feeling good, ought to be in Hollywood." But you have that break and that laugh, and it just pulls you out from the old pain cave of going, my legs are so sore, I've got so far to go.
Yeah, it's good to have those little strategies up your sleeve, though, isn't it? One of mine was just counting. Like say it's running or swimming or something. You're not quite there, but you feel like you need to be. It's like, right, count to 100, and just find something that just takes your brain somewhere else for a minute.
Yeah. And like in Hawaii, we had a song like we did from like we're in the Marine Corps. So I'd say a line in the group. The group would repeat after me, and they all, because of course through training it gave me great joy to see if they could remember it.
Right.
So we go, "Wanaka Spartans is who we are, training for Hawaii, we've come real far." And of course they start, and when we were training for it, and they'd be like, "Oh, shut up, AK, for God's sake," with a stupid song. But then we got out there, and it was at the same venue where they filmed Jurassic Park and King Kong. Ran past a velociraptor cage in a race, which was just ridiculous.
Really?
So much fun. And as we came into the finish, we got the last burst out, and everybody just loved it. It was another one of those memories I'll never forget. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And obviously doing it in Hawaii is absolutely fantastic, but there's ways to do it, even going for a walk locally or there's so many opportunities there if we use that. A bit of, we train to get sharp, we bring them with awareness to things, and then all of a sudden a walk can be so much more than just a walk if you want it to be, which is, what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So are those overseas events sort of pre-organized by other parties that you're then just tapping into?
No, my wonderful partner and also one of the owners of the Fit Collective here is very, very good at organizing things like that. And she really enjoys it. So he does research into hotels and we have a look around, and we take a lot of time to try and find venues and locations, activities that fit with us.
Yeah.
We sort of look at it and like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's a bit of us. We could work with that. So we do put a lot of effort in on that side. And again, generally it's underpinned by why we want these things to work and where we're going to put them in the trip. No, she does a wonderful job of that, and gets everyone organized, runs all the spreadsheets and all those fun things.
Okay, you always need one of those.
In the back garden doing 1,000 burpees for time, that's for sure. But
you can have someone on the spreadsheets.
Yeah, we have great fun doing it as well, and we're already looking towards the end of this year and next year and Alpha and what we want to do next year and things like that, because it's just wonderful. Somebody's coined the term for as exercise tourism.
Yes, super.
It's just structured enough that you keep moving. It's not like where you're there going, oh, what should we do? Where should we go? It's like, get in the bus at this time. We're going to the North Shore, or we're going to that restaurant or something along those lines. So yeah, we love it. Every time we do one, we finish and we go, how are we going to do better? And then we do the next one and it just about gets past it. And we're like, how are we going to do better? But the group makes it what it is. Rara was amazing. We had a wonderful group of people that really took on the work, as well. We had tears, we had laughter as a group. We hit some amazing rocks. And the same with if you go to an event, some people it's just getting to the start line. Just you'll bat your eyelids and you'll be at the finish going, what just happened?
Yeah, how did that happen?
I did it, and sharing those experiences, I think, as a community, like you said, as a family. And it can be everything from going from a walk to a bike ride to a race, it's all relative. And just having bucket loads of fun out there while you're doing it. I joked with the guy and said, we might not come first, but no one will have more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what counts to us.
What do you put down? I know this probably I should have asked this about 5 questions ago, but what do you put down the growth of these sorts of events too? Because they really have exploded in their different brands and different forms over the last, a decade or more?
Yeah, probably just over a decade. I think Spartan is a couple of years older than that. And it was the fastest growing mass participation sport in the world for a while. Yeah, it was just going bananas. Yeah. And within the obstacle world, if we were looking at that particular type of race, it was I love it because there's obstacles. You're probably going to fail out there, which sounds a little bit backwards. You might find something that just beats you up and you go, I'd love to come back next year and demolish that. Yeah. Whether it's monkey bars or rope climb, even hopping over fences. People are out there doing that for the first time. And I just think it's wonderful. So I think there's a huge amount of scope for it to grow. It's a potential for the 2028 Olympics now as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, which is only going to push the especially a lot of the elites, which in all fairness is a very small band of the race. And I think I find it really inspiring. I just look at them and man, it's so much fun. I think there's a lot of room for it to get bigger. So obviously we get Spartan, we've got an Ultimate Athlete doing their thing now as well. We've got ourselves down in December running the Alpha Challenge. There's Greg doing the Warrior when he's not moving around and COVID's not making a mess of everybody's plans. So I'm having done a bit of try, I look at the community thing on course and just that camaraderie of somebody helping you get out of a muddy pit while you're up to your eyeballs in mud. It sounds so stupid, but it's just brilliant. It's still there at Alpha, and we had the fire service helping, and they were just hosing people down as they dived into these mud pits. The third one was much deeper than the second one, so I'm just went, look, there was 200-300 adults pop up the top and just start busting themselves with laughter. Like I say, it's play. It's that thing where you're not thinking. You just out there getting muddy with your mates, having an absolute laugh at it.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, I think there's a real big space there, and we love it.
Is it because you're getting back to nature? Is it because people are feeling like they're connecting to something bigger than themselves? Why do you think it's I mean, obviously someone came up with the concept and then it grew. You know, it's like an iPhone. Once they're out there, you know, it's always going to be out there.
Yeah, it's a goodie, that one. For me, I very much enjoy being out in nature.
Yeah. And
previously I really enjoyed, you know, just trying to find that sort of thin edge of, can I hang on to this, you know, really challenge myself very physically. And I think as we progress along more, I love seeing other people out there get better at it. And I think a lot of people that come with us is, you know, they want to do something with a community.
Yeah.
There's so many little benchmarks within a race. You know, you can't find very often somewhere where you get 15 chances to measure yourself every single race.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I hadn't thought
about it. Might be a movement skill. You know, rope climbing is really common.
Yeah.
People love nailing a rope climb, and the more people we help out with it, it's 70% technique. You need an element of grip to hang onto the rope for a second, and if you know what you're doing with your feet, you know, watching people fly up them for the first time is great, because they get up there and ring the bell or hit the bar or whatever, and they're like, I did it. I think it's just, it's so much fun. And I think as well, like you said, that raw element of it not being super scripted and almost more of an experience as opposed to a highly calculated, you know, like I love doing try when I did focus on that and sort of, you know, sticking to the plan and the strategy, but just out there on a hill, not really knowing where you're going. Just going like, well, I've got to use my mental skills to keep my head in the right place here, other than the bananas. And, you know, come around a corner and maybe there's a massive sandbag carry up a big steep hill, and your first reaction might be, holy moly. But if you can flip it around and go, all right, this is what I came here for. With me, that wonderful picture in the Gold Coast, we've got the sandbells. We were stood at the top waiting for one of the girls to catch us up, and she fell over right in front of us. So we went, oh, where is she? And next minute she went whack and hit the deck in front of us. So we were like, we had to drop the stuff. We were crying with laughter because it was just a perfect, where's it? The splat. Well, there she is. But he wouldn't take the picture. I was like, take the picture, take the picture. Yeah. You know, there's a wonderful memory of going, oh, man. But you know, so many things like that. I think just getting out there and doing something different for people. Yeah.
It's there's so many positive elements to it, aren't there, that you know you can rattle off. It's it's an amazing thing, and I think it will keep going. And if it does get into the Olympics, well, that'll be,
it's going to push the standard up everywhere. And just get more people exposed to it as well. There's so many people have heard about it and just don't, you know, I'm too hard, I'm not fit. You know, the usual stuff we hear in this industry. You know, when people are meeting, they're like, oh, I'm not fit enough to join the gym. What? Hang on a minute, just come and give it a go, because we've got no element of racing or what weight you lift or anything here. You know, as much of the movement slide as you could be doing the movement with a stick, or you could have 200 kilos in your hands. You know? Equally, you know, I think the person that's walked through the door for the first time, we had 2 joiners last week, never been to a gym.
Brilliant.
Had some fun. I was like, just relax, it's your workout, not mine. And that's something we love.
What a great space. Well, I usually try and pick your brains at the end and say, hey, look, what are your tips? What can you tell the audience that you know, could be valuable? Could be business lessons, or you know, technical things, or you know, what things that you've learned you think, oh yeah, I'll keep that in my toolkit because that was useful, or that thing I did that didn't work is something I know I'm not going to do again, whatever it may be.
I've come across one or two of those in my time. For sure. I think that's one that stands out to me straight away. And we get groups of 10, 12, 14 people here in the morning. And for me, it's just like, I'm going to go, stop. That didn't work. So when you're authentic and real in yourself, you can sort of get, okay, let's just stop for a second, reframe that. That's not working. Or that's not doing what I'd like it to do. Or I'll just be like, hey, how's that going? Is that all right? Because I've got a good bond with my clients now over some time. So being, you know, it's principle, strategies, and techniques. So principle is the truth. Gravity, you know, when we talk about movement, gravity works on the body. So for me, I'd be like, hey, do I want to lie down all the time? Maybe not. Maybe I want to try some movement stood up. Strategies, you know, I want to use the whole body for me when I train that way. So I want my feet on the floor, you know, I want to be in my athletic stance. And the technique I might use might be a ViPr or a med ball. So PST is something I always come back to. And my old mentor said to me, if he walked, let's say he trained 5 of us, if he walked up and asked any one of us why we're doing a forward lunge, you know, just a classic step lunge, in a way we should all give him a different answer.
Right.
I'm looking at the foot connecting to the floor.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the hamstring's ability to slow the knee down so it doesn't go flying too far forward. You know, I'm making sure they don't collapse through the upper body.
Yeah. Okay.
So just having those, you know, those sort of steps in your head that you can always pull back to. So I can explain it like, hey, do a step lunge because that's going to stop your, you know, that's going to make you strong when you change direction of football, right the way through to, I want to see your calcaneus evert and your hip stability in the frontal plane, you know, and not, you know, and just really be able to drill into the details.
Yeah.
That's probably one big one for me. And I think the other thing is just connecting with people.
Yeah.
It's something we really enjoy doing here. And we quite often joke and say that sometimes training is the second most important thing people do here. Sometimes they just want to go to the door and have a chat and hang out with their friends, and it's something we absolutely love here. You know, there's quite often we've got quite a couple of social groups, should we say, that like to chat.
Yeah,
and new people join them. They're like, man, these guys talk a lot. And like, yeah, but when I start, you know, they'll go for it. Yeah, and a lot of them now got a place where they can say to us, they're like, oh, I'm tired, stiff, sore, emotionally stressed. You know, this is going on. I just came up with some fresh air. I'm like, sweet, come hang out. Give that a whirl. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. If it feels rubbish, you know, and I'll give you another option.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Would probably be the big nuggets at the moment off the top of my head.
That's good. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. It's great. Is there somebody you know I should talk to who would be a good guest on here?
Ooh, crikey, where to start with that one?
Or people?
Yeah, I suppose. I'm trying to think. A good friend of ours, Aaaaan Callahan's doing a bit more. He's doing a bit on social media, and that's really hitting well with people. So he's a wonderful guy to talk to as well. I'm just trying to think. Any one of our coaches are awesome because I hope they give you. I hope they give you a different perspective to the one I gave you, because we're not trying to bring robots. You know, everybody's got different opinions.
Yeah.
You know, any one of the guys would be awesome.
Cool. Okay. Well, I might hit you up for some contact details so that I can tee something up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Yeah. Cool. Well, where can people find you? Because I'll drop some. I found you on Facebook, but I'll put some links in the show notes for people to have a look and see what you guys do down there. Where's the easiest place for people to find you otherwise?
Yeah, so socials. Yeah, socials good. We've got the Fit Collective and then Total Life Tactics, which is my sort of coaching side of things.
Okay.
The same on Instagram, and then the website's fitcollective.co.nz, and we always say the door's always open. If you want to pop in and have a chat, come and hang out. I can talk about training for days.
I'd love to do that next time I'm in your neck of the woods for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And the same to everybody. Like I say, come hang out. Our door's always open. We haven't got any secrets in here. We're not doing anything too out there, and we just do things the way we do.
Yeah. Come
have a chat.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Andrew, today. It's been really great getting to know you and hearing about what you do down there. And I'm really thinking I'm in the wrong part of the world. I should be down there. I can handle cold weather.
I'm extremely biased. So it was a bit fresh this morning, though. We had -6 this morning, which is a little bit cold for some people.
Yeah, it's a bit fresh. But doesn't stop you moving, though. That's the thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah. In fact, it probably is a good reason to keep moving.
Move faster.
Yeah.
Get that hoodie on and get moving.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. It's been great chatting, and bye for now.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Cheers, Rich.
Thanks.